Hey there. So I've been wanting to talk about this case for a while now, and with the trial coming up here on June 1st, figure I'll break down what we know happened and give my take on the situation, and then I'd like to hear what you're all thinking out there. So on April 2nd, 2025, there was a large track meet being held at Memorial High School in Frisco, Texas. Two 17-year-old students had an altercation that ultimately led to one of them stabbing the other. Unfortunately, the one that was stabbed ended up dying. So to better describe the situation, here's what we know to be facts. So both students are in the same high school district, but they're in different high schools. So the meet was being held at Memorial High School. And at this meet, they had set up individual tents for each school to be under. And at some point, there was a major weather delay. During this delay, all teams were instructed to go to their assigned tents. Now, a student, Karmelo Anthony, from Centennial High School, 17 years old, he was hanging out in the tent assigned to Memorial High School. And he knew some students there. According to witnesses, he wasn't really bothering anyone. He was just hanging out. So another student, Hunter Metcalf, approached Karmelo and he asked him to leave the tent. For one reason or another, Karmelo refused to leave. At which point, Hunter's brother, twin brother, Austin, stepped in to also ask Karmelo to leave the tent. Karmelo was very threatened, and he actually said to Austin, "If you touch me, you'll see what happens." And the argument continued. At one point, Karmelo was reaching into his backpack, and Austin pushed Karmelo into the bleachers, at which point Karmelo pulled out the knife, a large black knife, and he stabbed Austin once in the chest. According to witnesses, Karmelo fled while Austin stumbled down the bleachers, holding his chest asking for help. And the athletic staff attempted to administer life-saving procedures while waiting for the emergency crews to arrive. Once they arrived, he was taken to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead within minutes of arriving to the hospital. Karmelo Anthony turned himself in with no issues and made it very clear that he did in fact stab Austin. So that's what happened, according to witnesses and according to all news reports. So Karmelo was arrested, and it is in Texas, so he'll be charged as an adult, being 17 or over. And his lawyers have, as you would expect, announced that he will plead not guilty due to self-defense. So let's talk about self-defense. Self-defense is the use of defense to protect oneself, being used under the belief that you will be harmed. This force should be proportional to the threat that you are faced with. Now, the problem I see here is the proportional part. I cannot see where Karmelo would have thought his life was in danger. Fistfights and altercations are very common in high school. I saw a lot of them growing up. Usually they just happen, everybody moves on. Maybe they have to fight again to prove who the tough guy is. That's generally what will happen in these situations. So what had this man so quick to resort to something so serious? I can't wrap my head around that. So why was the knife so accessible, ready to be used? Who had this kid thinking that killing another human should be your first go-to move in an altercation? I mean, there just seems to be a lot of questions here. Ultimately, we have one 17-year-old student dead and another whose life is all but over. And this happened over someone being in the wrong tent at a track meet. It sounds so silly, right? But here we are. So here's my view on this horrible situation. I believe it started out as a simple disagreement between two students, with a third getting involved. Karmelo probably did feel very threatened for sure. Two brothers, another team's tent. I get it. But did it have to get to this point? So I looked a little further into self-defense, and the 5 factors that back up a self-defense plea are as follows. The first one is being innocent and not the aggressor. This definitely supports Karmelo. I think they were approaching him, and they were the ones that had the issue with him being in their tent. Now, the second thing is there must be an immediate threat. Again, I think this supports Karmelo. He's got 2 brothers in front of him. One's pushing him. Definitely has every reason to feel threatened. Now, the next 3 areas of self-defense are what bother me here and what don't fit. So the third is the response must be proportional to the threat, and I just don't see that here. Nobody else had weapons, and according to witnesses, there were no lives threatened. The fourth one, must use avoidance if possible. So I think it's very clear that he could have left the situation. In fact, the whole situation was sparked due to the fact that he was being asked to leave. So had he just left, none of this would have happened, correct? And lastly is the reasonableness of the reaction. And again, I just don't see where Karmelo needed to take a life to get out of this situation. So with all these facts in front of me and what I think on the situation, I guess here's where I end up. First off, I know a lot of people carry a weapon to defend themselves if needed. In this situation, I just see it a little odd to have a large knife in your backpack while attending a track meet. So to go a little bit further, why the need to have it so accessible and be so quick to resort to using it? These factors bother me. So let me be sure to add that these two brothers were probably acting in a way that would be very intimidating towards Karmelo. So I've seen this in high school many times, tough guys trying to bully people. They're certainly not innocent in bringing about this whole situation. I just still haven't seen any witnesses that have mentioned threats on Karmelo's life during the altercation. So I don't see self-defense here. I see a 17-year-old kid that shouldn't have had that knife in this situation and definitely overreacted to what was in front of him. That being said, my opinion is that he'll probably be found guilty on second-degree murder. Definitely not first-degree. There was certainly no premeditation here. He didn't go to this track meet intending on killing anyone. Again, I just don't see why the quickness to resort to it, but that's a whole another conversation on his upbringing and how he was taught, whatever fears he might experience. I can't answer on that. It just seems a little excessive to me. So as I predict this ruling, and I do want to say that, Karmelo needs to face accountability and repercussions for his actions, but I just don't want to see his whole life being over. He's young enough. He really has no criminal past. He made an enormous life-changing decision, and it changed a lot of lives forever. I think that he should be able to somehow prove himself worthy of rehabilitation, hopefully, and down the road maybe get an opportunity to learn from this and better himself and have the chance to be back out here in society making a life for himself. This is just a horrible situation for so many, and obviously my prayers go out to all involved, both families. It's a horrible thing to have a child die, a brother die. So my prayers go out to the Metcalf family, and my prayers also go out to the Anthony family. Karmelo was unfortunately put in a horrible situation. He, in my opinion, made a very bad decision. But I just hope that everybody can come back from this and move on. And again, prayers to all involved.